a minute, sir. Now it is okay. So as you can see on your screens that today's topic is about the green mobility, specifically to the automobile sector, wherein uh, today it is what you call, you must have seen, you must have heard a lot about uh, vehicles with low emission norms or zero emission norms like electrical vehicles, electrification of vehicles basically, uh, because of not only because of environmental reasons, but also because of energy security. That is another very big global concern. So, in today's presentation, I would try to explain uh, what is our position with respect to this electrification of vehicles, automobile vehicles in India. And see, each country has their own peculiar characteristics, their own socio-economical situations, conditions, and their own priorities also, political priorities also. So there is no tailor-made solution available for India because to take care of this concern. What here I would like to explain is what are the requirements and what are the challenges that we have in India, and based and considering these both, what should be a balanced approach that we must make? Because see, this is you talk of environmental pollution issues, or you talk of global warming, or you talk of this energy security. It is not a short-term concern. It is a very long-term concern, and long-drawn battle ahead of us is there. It is not just a small war that need to be won, um, but it is a long struggle ahead for us, which need to be very carefully understood, and then very careful strategies need to be planned, uh, because in this context we will be talking about, let's say, next 100 years. uh, mm, and for that purpose, I will try to explain all these aspects of this concern in very simple terms, although there may be some technical explanations, but I once again try to make it as simple as possible so that even a layman can understand what is the crux of this discussion, right? So, with this, I go to my um, first slide, which states that the automobile industry itself is very committed towards carbon-free society, a society which is a clean society, and in this context, uh, mm, this is a vision statement for the whole automobile industry as one, that by 2030, global, the whole worldwide, automobiles will be uh, electrified at least two-thirds of its population. Uh, in India, maybe the situation may be different, but this is the global scenario that one can expect, and that is how the automobile industry is moving forward. And for this electrification, various technologies are have been established and are being used, uh, which starts from hybrid, then full hybrid, then plug-in hybrid, then the battery electric vehicles, as you must have heard of. That is the total completely electric vehicles. And then one more development in recent times is about the fuel cells. This is what these are some of the very few, some of the very hot topics also in the most of the automobile fraternity. Uh, so will not touch much upon the fuel cells, but apart from that, uh, other areas will touch upon, and see to it that how, as far as India is concerned with respect to global scenario, where do we stand, and uh, mm, out of all these available solutions, uh, how and when, uh, which solution we must adopt, uh, and what is the reason for that. So I once again go to the basics, the requirements. If you focus on the graph that is shown on the left hand side, you can see that it is the air pollution, and to a great extent, a major portion of it is contributed by the vehicles, and the ICE, or the internal combustion engine vehicles that run on fossil fuel. And here I just want to once again make a submission that any point of time, if anybody want to ask or discuss anything, you can interrupt me, you can stop me, you can ask me. Please don't wait till the end of the presentation to ask your queries, or to I mean, express your opinion on this issue, right? So wherever you feel, please stop me there, and please ask. uh, Yes, coming back to this presentation, yes, air pollution, which, as I said, that a major portion is contributed by the vehicles which run on ICE, or internal combustion engines, which basically use fossil fuel, um, and this further leads to global warming, another concern, wherein it is the contribution of CO2, which is the major concern, and everybody is working on how to reduce the CO2. And in automobiles also, as CO2 is a major portion of exhaust gases that actually affects our environment and actually contributes to the global warming. So the whole automobile fraternity is honestly and very sincerely working on reduction of CO2. And then connecting to it is the energy security. As I said that all the IC engines, let it be petrol or diesel or CNG, they all work on renewable, I mean, fossil fuels, which are not uh, going to be there forever. They have limited resources, and sooner or later we are going to exhaust all these resources. So we need to replace them with some source of energy which is not dependent upon fossil fuel, which is most likely it is renewable energy, the energy which is available in nature also. uh, so this is another requirement top on the top of it, which actually making us moves toward improving the efficiencies of our vehicle, and at the same time developing vehicles which produce reduced amount of CO2 or the pollution. And considering this fact, now please focus on the right hand side graph. Here it is shown that with each passing year, the population or the numbers of such ICE vehicles, I mean, they will peak. They will keep on increasing up to 2030, but certainly after 2030, their numbers will come down. And but the overall number of vehicles will certainly increase. So their space will be filled by some other technology run vehicles like HEV. That is, HEV means hybrid electrical vehicle, then plug-in hybrids, then EVs and FCV. FCVs is the fuel cell vehicles, and EV are complete battery supported electrical vehicles. So this will be the scenario in future, wherein yes, these we our dependence on fossil fuel will keep on reducing with the more and more use of renewable energy. Um, and the main objective of it will be CO2 reduction. I think it is clear up to here. Uh, so, if nothing to ask,
संदीप,
yes, yes, sir.
एक्सक्यूज मी संदीप, ये मुझे जरा हाइब्रिड का और इसका जरा ठीक से देखना है कि इसका क्या फ्यूचर है.
हाँ जी, we will talk in the next I mean in the subsequent slides, sir.
Okay.
If I
Yes,
have one question,
yes, sir.
I was heading value, which was
हाँ जी,
into engine electricals, starter motors, alternators, and we
yes,
had
sir.
certain products you would be knowing in the space of uh, engine ignition starting systems
Yes, sir.
and alternators. I don't see much difference. I used to prepare presentations at that time, way back in 2012. And we used to say that 2020, at that time, things will start moving towards an electrical direction.
Yes, sir.
Now it's 2020, still we are only shifting the graph. The zero has moved to 2020 and it keeps on. Now, my question to you is not as specific to Sandeep. What is happening in industry? Why is it not picking up pace in terms of uh, more towards electrification of vehicles? What's holding the whole industry?
Yes, sir. These are the requirements, and certainly we have seen that I mean, we have not yet started the electrification. We have started the electrification. You must have seen few of our even indigenous car makers like Tata, Mahindra. They have already came out with their electrical vehicle. You must have heard about Tagore recently Nexon has
Yeah, Nexon and Tigor are there, correct?
Tagore is there, na? And similarly Mahindra has made a lot of buzz. Now you must have seen the Tesla has started putting up their own electric vehicle plants. So and then you must have heard about mild hybrid of Maruti Suzuki, which at one point of time I think it was says model which
Yes. That's where
Ciaz.
we value supplied its integrated starter generator.
Yes. So it is not like nothing has happened. Things have happened, certainly, but not at the same pace as the whole world is moving. That is also a fact. And why is it so?
That is what was my question. That's all.
Yes. And why is it so? And what should be our strategy? This is what I am going to explain and try to discuss in my future, in my subsequent slides.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
With this, we can see that If I'll come back to this slide. If I sum up, then because of these requirements related to air pollution, global warming, and energy security, um, the contribution of automobile industry is there will be lesser and lesser number of um ICE engine run vehicles after certain period of time, and that space will be filled by vehicles which run on renewable energy or electric, or those vehicles are electrical vehicles. So, but there may be different technologies used like hybrid, plug-in hybrid, electrical vehicle, fuel cell vehicle, etc. Okay, so I go to my next slide. Now, let us understand the total cycle of this CO2 generation in context to uh, automobiles, or in context to mobility. Uh, Now, even if we have an electric vehicle, certainly which is a complete electric vehicle working on battery and motor, or if even if it is a FCV, fuel cell vehicle, see, tank to wheel, certainly there will be zero emission because there is no fossil fuel combustion, there is no combustion. So, I mean, the net result will be, as far as CO2 is concerned, the exhaust will be zero. In FCV also, those who must have read about it or have the opportunity to know about its technology, the end result is oxygen and steam, water vapors, right? Where hydrogen as a fuel is used, oxygen from air is taken in, and in the electrochemical reaction, these two, when they combine, they give uh, electric potential. They release electrons through ions, and at the end, they give only oxygen and steam. So their exhaust will be cleaner than, even their exhaust will be cleaner than the environment, the atmosphere. But look at the well to tank scenario. See, in India, or let us not talk about India first, let us talk about the global scenario. We need uh, electricity to charge our vehicles, and electricity can be produced by various resources. Now, if I come to situation in India, these resources could be fossil fuels. These resources could be coal. These energy resources could be renewable energy like solar energy, wind turbines, hydropower, nuclear power, and so on. So, depending upon the source of fuel or the source of energy that is used to produce electricity, the CO2 will be produced. So, when we talk about well to wheel, as shown in the bottom arrow, then it cannot be considered as zero CO2, because producing electricity itself will produce CO2, and that electricity we are going to use in BEVs, in our electrical vehicles. Now, coming to India, what is the situation in India? In India, you know that let us understand this scenario, that we are the fifth largest user of coal and producer, and because we have coal mines, we have coal still in abundance, and we use that coal to produce electrical energy. We
Electricity.
use electricity. Yes, we use fossil fuel in terms of crude oil also to produce electricity, and a portion now recent a portion of very small portion of it still we have nuclear plants also, and we also have started using renewable energy. But if we look at the figures, these are the next slide I'm going. Just look at the bottom line with a blue rectangle marked onto it. See, our total capacity to produce power is 3,70,000 megawatts. That is second row from the right, bottom, right? And now come back to the left hand side, coal, out of which 200 sorry 2,05,135 megawatts are produced by coal, or rather if I say that about 60, I mean if we total the this thermal energy, then we can say that with this coal or fossil fuel we are producing about 65 to 70% of our energy, electricity. So, but nuclear energy is very small. It is only 6,800 mega units around. Hydro energy and other renewable source energy is again not so big. So, in total, nuclear and hydro energy, they contribute only about 30 to 35%. So, now when we talk of when we look at this scenario and we think of well to wheel CO2 production, then the situation is quite different as compared to other nations. This is a very peculiar situation for India. So we'll have to think it very carefully. Now look at this. These are the various countries wherein what all the different power generation sources being used. You can see the green is natural, brown is nuclear, gray is gas, and then oil or dark gray or black or coal. Now just look at this. Yes, countries like Sweden, countries like France, Norway, Denmark, there you can see that the most of the energy produced is through nuclear or renewable sources, and they very small portion they use fossil fuel or coal. But for India, it is altogether opposite situation. Our source from renewable energy for electricity is minimal. So the kind of CO2 will produce for every unit of electricity that we consume will be much more than these countries, right? So this is where we have to be very careful. But this situation will not remain same. But today is this situation. Today is this is what is. I mean,
Sandeep,
if we yes.
Sandeep, I have one question. First of all, over here,
Hmm.
which is that if you see these countries who are doing well in terms of carbon footprint, there the predominant usage is because of nuclear. and I mean, I'm sure they must be having availability of fission material with them, so that they are able to take advantage of nuclear energy. So, what is the is that, first of all, is that statement true? Are they having, are they rich in uranium or its products, which help in having nuclear power plants over there? That's question number one. And I wanted to go to two slides before and to understand what is the percentage of uh, wheel, tank to wheel, and well to wheel percentage. What is the percentage ratio? These are the two questions.
Okay, okay, okay. Regarding your first question, yes, there are two things. One is resource, and second thing is processing of various minerals to get the enrich the uranium for their power plants. Yes, they have developed this capability to an extent that they have. Mm, they I mean this is a data created by International Energy Association. Which clearly indicates that yes, they have the established facilities for nuclear power generation. And second thing is, even if they don't have resources, they have developed the processes which are required to run these plants, like enrichment of uranium and other radioactive fuels.
Okay.
Okay, and second thing is about well to wheel, well to tank, and then tank to wheel, and then combined well to wheel. If we look at this scenario, just look at this. Here you see, this is the case of India, right? In India, gasoline for electricity, when we use gasoline, we are producing 132 grams per kilometer of, when we use gasoline for our vehicles, we are using 132 grams per kilometer of CO2 we are emitting. And then hybrid electrical vehicles, and if we take this as 100, and then electrical vehicles are produce 52% of what gasoline produce, and battery electrical vehicles, they will, although they will produce zero from tank to wheel, but from well to tank, because our composition of our electricity generation resources is such that they have already produced 96 grams of CO2 per kilometer. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
so certainly it is better than using a fossil fuel, but it is not the best option at the moment for us. But for other developed countries, as I have shown you in my previous slide, yes, it is a solution for them. It is the best solution for them. So, because other countries are using, have gone far ahead with electrification, so we must also would have matched them right at the moment. I don't think uh, this data calls for that. Now, Kolsa, you understand? There is this condition which is holding us back a little, because because that is not the kind of effectiveness uh, when we talk of well to wheel, the kind of effectiveness in reducing the CO2, this electrical vehicles will give to those developed countries, it will not give to us. So, looking at this scenario, the best solution for us is hybrid vehicles. Hybrid
Right.
vehicles means those which run on both battery as well as engine. Now, these vehicle, most of these vehicle, full hybrid vehicles, I'm not talking about at the moment plug hybrid vehicle, full hybrid vehicles, what they do, they have an integrated, not even if it is not an integrated, even if they are into two units, an engine and a motor. A generator is also attached to the engine. When engine runs, it charges the battery, and in turn battery runs the motor, and that is how from motor the power is transmitted to wheels. But there are times when battery is the percentage of a charge of the battery reduces, then it automatically shift back to engine, and power is transmitted from engine also onto the wheels. So
Right.
these are called the hybrid vehicles, right?
Correct.
So these hybrid vehicles, again, within the hybrid vehicles, there are so many different technologies available,
See, there
which.
are different configurations available in the hybrid line, and
Hmm,
it could be from mild hybrids to the entire electrification of the vehicle, wherein
hmm,
you get the motors clocked onto the wheels, and they directly drive the wheels. So
hmm,
there is a plethora of technologies available with
hmm,
from the mildest towards the torque you get onto the wheels directly through motors driven by batteries,
hmm, hmm,
and which get recharged by recuperative braking, etc., etc. So
hmm.
yes, you are right.
Yes, what you said, if I sum up this, there are basically two types of hybrids. One is series, another is series plus parallel. What is the difference? Uh, okay, the difference is that in series, the engine mm, is connected in series with motor, and it only charges the electric battery, which in turn runs the motor, and motor give drives to the wheels. But there are series plus parallel means there the engine can directly supply power, can directly transmission powers to the wheel also. At the same time, they are also in series with motor. So depending upon the advancement, I mean series were the first generation hybrids. Series plus parallel is the advanced generation of this hybrid, right? And then there are idle stop and mild and
Yeah,
various
these are the
other
different configurations,
configurations,
and
right?
depending on the architecture of the vehicle.
Hmm. Hmm.
Correct.
Okay, that we'll discuss a little later. But you understand, this is very important thing we all Indians must understand
So one
that.
question over here, Sandeep, was
Hmm,
you're showing battery electric in India at 73
hmm,
versus what has progressed in Japan at 45.
yes,
So how do we bridge this gap? What's going on in the industry to bridge this
yes,
gap?
yes. That is that. I'll come to my next slide. Okay, if nothing else is there, now yes, I will answer this question, because see, Japan again, it is, but still Japan is also with 45 is about more than 30% on fossil fuel, the electric generation.
Correct.
As compared to, but still they are far better than India. They have, they will have much more effectiveness. But Sweden, as you must have heard, that most of the vehicles, 80% of the vehicles have already converted to electrification. So they
Right. Yeah.
have this reason also behind that. Okay.
Okay.
Japan is slight, is still far off from when compared to Sweden and Norway. But yes, they are also, they, if they they go for electrification, they will have a better advantage than India. And they, that is the reason also they are ahead of us. Now, let us understand how we have to bridge this gap, as you rightly asked. Um, see, we are the third largest importer of crude oil, and this we use for our electric power generation also. As I already mentioned, we produce the fifth, we are the fifth largest producer of coal. We have coal mines, we have coal in abundance. So, I mean, the natural resource available to us, we cannot simply discard it. Please understand. I mean, we have coal available with us. So, we have to use it, right? And this is going to be another, if in terms of cost, it is, I mean, certainly CO2 level will be
But
higher, but
but
cost is another thing that, yes, sir.
Sandeep, Nikhil would also know, and he will tell me. The problem with us is that the efficiency of the thermal power plants is pretty low. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the challenges what we have is that ash content in our coal, what we extract from our coal mines is very, very pathetic. Probably Nikhil, Dr. Nikhil can substantiate this. And that results in very low efficiency of conversion of coal to get one, say, unit of power, and which is a challenge for us. And that's why it's important for us to move towards uh, highly efficient ways of producing power, which is probably one nuclear. Just to add on the discussion over here. So we cannot be totally dependent on coal, even though we have coal. As you have said, that we are at fifth largest producer, but our coal quality is pretty bad.
Yes, Dr. Nikhil, you want to add anything?
Yes, Kohl sir, you are very right. Actually, the coal technology in which we are using the crushing of the coal, which is called as pulverization of coal, it was being started in Britain. And in Britain, the content of the ash was very less. Only 2% of the ash was being present in the coal. And in India, the coal is having the ash content or another content up to 30% also. So whenever we are transporting the coal, we are consuming the clean fuel, which is diesel, and that is being transported from Bihar to Delhi or another places. And we are wasting our clean fuel in transporting that unclean fuel. But here at this point, I am very much agreed with Sandeep ji, because we are having no other option at present. If we have to develop ourselves, then we are not having very much other options other than coal. And second thing, one I would like to about nuclear power plants. So when there was a time of Cold War, at that time, every country like Russia and America, they have made very large number of nuclear weapons. It was a study which was being presented in the Hindu newspaper in 2005, and it says that Russians were having nearly 20,000 nuclear weapons. But every nuclear weapon is having a life, And when their life was being ended up, or they were at the end of their life, so what Russian did, they sold these nuclear weapons to the countries which were having nuclear power plants, and that nuclear fuel was being used in nuclear power plants, and those nuclear bombs or nuclear weapons were sold to America also. So they are trying to phase out nuclear weapons. So even if some countries are not having the nuclear resource or technology to extract the uranium, they can, or they are purchasing the outdated nuclear weapons or similar weapons, and they are using the uranium of those weapons. So I think it is from my side. Thank you.
Yes,
I
doctor.
think
Sorry.
this is a very vast subject. क्योंकि इसमें we should have another session for this, because power losses, transmission and all, as Anil said that what we are actually getting per unit, there are so many other reasons also for that. Not only the ash content and this thing. I think that we should have another session for this particularly, and we would be more interested in EV and hybrid today.
So, just I will take 2 points from this. One from Dr. Nikhil, that yes, the CO2 is not only from producing coal, but also in transporting this coal through trucks which run on diesel. So that is also, transportation itself is causing CO2. In spite, and moreover, as Bareja-san said, that there are so many other concerns like privileges, losses, theft, because of our very aging infrastructure and other reasons. So that is also a huge loss in our whole electricity distribution system. But in spite of all that, as explained by Dr. Nikhil, and here also I'll just once again say that today this is our situation, this is the fact, this is the actual fact. About 61% our power generation still depends upon coal, and we have abundance of coal. So I mean, we just, because of these negativities or demerits also, we cannot immediately discard it. But with time, we are also developing renewable energy resources, which at the moment are there, but we assume that by 2030, our electricity generation through renewable sources will be 43%, and coal requirement then will reduce to, for electricity generation, will reduce to about 40%. And then there will be other sources of electricity generation. At that time, certainly using electrical vehicles will have a different proposition when we talk about well to wheel CO2 generation. So, I mean, from here to 2030, shall we wait, or is, I mean, and allow our infrastructure or to develop for electricity generation, or we have other options to work upon? This is what we need to debate. And look at this scenario. This is our projections. Our sales volume by 2030 will be 10 million vehicles, out of which, as our government has already declared, that 30%, the 3 million, will be EV vehicles. But still, at the moment we have about 3 to 4 million ICE, 3 to 4 million vehicles available on the road. By 2030, they will swell to 10 millions, out of which 3 million, okay, because of our government's policy will be, and with the application of CAFE 2020 and 27, this will reach to 2022 and 2027, it will reach to 30%. But at the same time, we see our IC engine vehicles will also swell from 4 lakhs to 7 lakhs. So our proposal here, what we should do is use this hybrid to fill this gap. At least 30% we must use these hybrid vehicles. As we know that hybrid vehicle has less carbon footage. So let us fill this gap about 30% with hybrid electrical vehicles. And this could be the best strategy that India should follow because of our various constraints.
Acha,
And
excuse
moreover,
me,
Hanji.
are you taking EV and HEV hybrid separate 30% and 30%, right?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, in any case, if we don't do anything, our ICE engine vehicles are going to swell from 3-4 millions to 7 millions. So that will further deteriorate the situation even if we introduce 30% or 3 million electrical vehicles. So let us contain that situation somehow.
So what is being done for the bringing up the hybrid vehicles into the market? Nothing is happening in India, Sandeep.
Yes, this is the biggest mistake probably we are making in our policies. We are talking about EV. We are talking about improving the efficiency of, yes, improving the efficiency of IC engines is also important. But see, one link is missing in this whole strategy. This is where I want to bring your attention to. And that technology is available. And as I have shown in my previous data,
Sandeep, there is one question which is still bothering me, which is if you see all the hybrid electrical vehicles have been the high-end vehicles, whether you go in for BMWs or Toyotas or Hondas of the world, they're all in the high market segment. But where the maximum number of vehicles are there in the lower market segment, nothing is being done. And globally, nothing is being done. We keep talking about it, but there is no strategy adopted by the vehicle manufacturers on the low end side. Let me be candid about this.
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, there are different strategies adopted to, see, why high-end are, why hybrid vehicles are, why the 1000 cc and above are being targeted for hybrid vehicles, rather 1500 cc and above. There is reason. Small vehicles, because of their small volumes, uh, there is another way to take care of. That is improving the efficiency of vehicles. I mean, you must have heard about the terminology downsizing of engines. Using turbochargers, you can downsize the engine. These small engines, less than 1.5 liter, can be very effectively downsized, and thereby their CO2 emissions can be reduced. And moreover, with the dual filter technologies, their emissions can further be arrested to a great extent by these technologies. For these small engines, yes, the strategy should be different, that are very cost effective also as compared to hybrid.
So let me ask you this.
But for other vehicles, yes, sir, sorry.
Let me ask you this. Is that the reason why Kia has brought in Seltos and the Sonet with their 1.35 liter engine, which is having turbocharge in it,
Turbocharger, yes,
correct?
yes.
The turbocharger in it, so that the emissions are kept on the lower side, and they are able to abide by the BS6 emission norms.
But by turbocharger, only the BS6 emission norms can be met. I have doubt.
Because that's what they
Because
claim, and
yes,
that
yes,
is
that will help them. But it is the exhaust treatment of exhaust at the end of the day that actually, because BS6 is very, very strict norms. They are equivalent to European 6, Euro 6, right?
they are equivalent to Euro 6, correct? That's right.
Yes, yes, yes. And so with these
My question was,
certainly
my question,
downsizing have helped them.
yeah, my question was, why is Honda not into this space? Why did Kia have to come into India to take out this strategy, bring in a vehicle of in this space of downsizing the engine and abiding by the norms for BS6? Why couldn't Honda come out with its innovation out here?
Okay.
Why are they only into 2 liter, 3 liter, 4 liter engines for this for hybrids?
Okay. So first thing is, I'm not clear about Kia's strategy, what their strategy is. But if we look at the future regulations that are going to be there, and our understanding about how to go about it, is that this BS6 can be more effectively and with and without increasing the much of the cost, can be done by the exhaust treatment technology that Honda has, which we have successfully implemented in Britain also, in UK and Europe also. So we unnecessarily don't want to have more cost burden on our customers just because of introducing another technology, which at the moment for BS6 we don't need. They may need, Kia may need, but we don't need, because with the existing engine we can achieve BS6, and we have achieved. Now we have both BS6 diesel as well as petrol cars in the market with the same engine, only by adding few more components into our exhaust system.
So you're dependent basically on the downstream side on catalytic conversion type technology, right?
Yes, yes, and this has been successfully done.
Okay,
And
but you're
this is
not working on upstream side of the whole
no,
you can say the chain.
that will be our future.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Now, if we talk about regulations, then the CAFE 2022 is the hot topic at the moment, wherein at the moment the CO2 norms per kilometer for any vehicle produced by any car maker is 132 grams per kilometer. Our actual is about 118 or 19, which is much below than, or about 120 you can say, grams per kilometer for all our vehicles put together as an average. Now the next regulation will be to reduce it to 1 113 grams per kilometer, and this the government wanted to make it 108. Automobile industry wants that, okay, if you want to have it at 108, give us 3 more years. That is, do it not in 2022, but do it in 2025. Right? There you need all these technologies as far as we concerned. And there, if you won't produce EVs also, then based on and then for further in 27 in 27 this will be further reduced to 96. So that time you need to have certain number of EVs produced to have an average coming down to 96. Not at the moment.
Okay.
Okay, so these are certain strategies which you cannot decide just for a year or so. These are long term, as I earlier said that probably when we talk of electrification, we are talking about the next 100 years, right? So at least next 10 years we have to think about what all things, what all new technologies we have to introduce so as to uh, uh, take care of regulations, law of the land, so as to take care of environment and other things also. Coming back to okay, Kolsa, shall we come back to this?
Please go ahead. Sorry, I'm interjecting in between. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish it off.
So this is what we said that okay, this is the total scenario wherein by 2030 we will have these renewable energies, much more the use of renewable energy, much more than the use of coal for electricity production. So at that time we may we should, by that time we should have all our electrical vehicles ready to be launched. And then we said that okay, by 2030, as our government is talking about EV, but EV is just 30% of 10 million. But the IC engines will also swell. We are not talking about that. How to take care of that? So that is where we must fix in from today onward. We must insert this HEV concept into the whole picture, which is very important for all of us. And why it is important, this is also, I'll explain you in my next slide. See, now it is about the battery. I mean, the major constraint, as you all know, for electrical engines are the batteries. Must have heard that batteries will actually store the energy which will be used as power to run the vehicle and to cover the distance also. So that energy density, the power density in the battery is very important. That is today's biggest problem, biggest constraint in the batteries. And for that purpose, the because see, just very small thing, mm, we at the moment in our IC engine vehicles, we have fuel tank. We have fuel tank of say 40, 50 liters, 60 liters. And what happens in that fuel tank, if we fill that fuel tank, we can run about more than 400, 500 kilometers in one go without refilling. But batteries, existing batteries cannot run that much. See, So have to have at least 400 kilometers with one charge, and every time it gets discharged, uh, you have to once again charge it, which will take time. So two things: it should hold maximum amount, more and more amount of energy to give power to our vehicle and make it run a longer distance, and at the same time it should take minimum time to get charged once again. So these are the two things that are being developed, and in all so we have converted, we have shifted from normal lead acid batteries to lithium ion. First is nickel, first were the nickel batteries, and then it was the
Nickel cadmium and
then it was lithium ion batteries. So
correct.
at the moment we are working on lithium. The whole world is working on lithium ion batteries. What they are doing is that in all there are four different kind of charging systems that have been developed in the world. One is with Tesla, they have their own patent. Second is Chinese. Third here, as it is shown, CCS, this is European. And uh, another is the Japanese one, that is called Chamu. So India has decided that they will use either European or Japanese system. That is the Indian government has decided, and based on that, all facilities for charging is being developed, is planned to be developed all across the country. But again, it still take time to develop a battery which will hold so much of energy, and at the moment such batteries are not available at a reasonable price also. So it seems as if by 2030, when we'll reach, such batteries will be there for us to be used. So this is the whole concept of this slide. And for that purpose, see, for and to fill that gap, also we need HEV. HEV does not need such a high energy or power density batteries, because they, on running, on their regular run itself, they get their battery, these batteries get charged through the generator which is fitted onto the engine. So they don't want, by the time we don't have such batteries, we must use hybrid electrical vehicles. That is also another requirement that is coming up for hybrid vehicles because of our limitation in uh, uh, battery technology. Now, this is very important to understand. Because of this, let us understand that for fuel, what is the lithium batteries, lithium ion batteries energy density when we compare it to different fuels as compared to gasoline. The lithium battery density is 20 to 100 in ratio. That means uh, gasoline requires much lesser space, much lesser volume of gasoline can store much more energy into it to run the vehicle. So in reverse, if I say, when I put battery, I need to have much more space required. The battery should be big enough to store the equivalent amount of energy as small tank of gasoline stores. Now, the space also is a constraint in our vehicle. And then battery, because of the safety, cannot be fitted such batteries, because these are high voltage batteries. These cannot be fitted in the crush areas of the vehicle. Crushable zone means the front and the rear, wherein if some collision happens, these zones get crippled, so as to provide safety to the uh, mm, to the occupant of the vehicle as well as to the pedestrians also, in case if the collision is with the pedestrian, right? So the shaded portion in the car is the only area where we can use which we can use to accommodate these batteries, and this whole area will be used to have batteries with energy storage equivalent to gasoline of 40 to 50 liters. So that is how, this is another constraint, that still full electrical vehicles, and you must have heard of it also, the Tesla has used the whole floor as a space to keep the batteries. Must have heard about it. So see, this is another thing that is a big constraint for us. Although with time, yes, now the emphasis is on solid state batteries with semiconductors, so that they can with less space, less weight, they can keep more energy into it. But such batteries are still under development. These has never been produced commercially. At the moment, it is only the lithium ion battery which is available. So if I sum up, see, we have to strike a very delicate balance for our electrical vehicles as far as driving range is concerned. If we increase the driving range, what will happen? It requires more power. More power means more weight of the battery, and more weight means more size, high cost, and then also supply will be an issue for manufacturing such batteries and accommodating such batteries into the space available in the car. So another concept, till we go in for full BEV, is affordable EV. I mean, we compromise on range of travel, have some reduction in weight and size of the battery. And rather than comparing with IC engine vehicles, those run 500, 600 kilometers, we may have certain electrical vehicles which may run about 150, 200 kilometers. And yes, that will make their usage limited to certain areas only. But if we want, this is another solution available. We must look for such solutions. Now, third thing is battery itself. We have heard that in future, the batteries, with these so much of development, so much of manufacturers, so much of manufacturing capacity coming in, the battery prices will come down. Yes, they will come down to a certain extent, because see, it is all supply and demand relationship. But there will be a time when these electrical vehicles all over the world will swell. Then there will be a turning point, and for the various minerals, various metals that are being used in those batteries, their cost will, their supplies will be much lesser than their demand, and that will shoot up their cost. Like cobalt, lithium, nickel, by 2024-25, their cost is going to shoot up, because if we continue to grow in the same proportion, certainly their supplies will be much lesser than their demand, and that will certainly further add to the cost burden onto the electrical vehicles and the batteries used in them. So another challenge is to make batteries which are minus these materials, or at least some of these minerals or metals, like cobalt. Now you know that cobalt, worldwide, the situation is that 54% of the cobalt is available in Congo, a country like Congo, which is very fragile as far as their stability is concerned, because of their socio-political, socio-economical situations. We all know that. And second thing is, cobalt is not a material, a mineral which is directly we can get from the ore. It needs further processing of various other minerals, like from nickel. If nickel is processed, only 5.4% cobalt is made. From copper, only 0.6% cobalt can be made if we process copper. So such minerals which at the moment are being used in our batteries need to be replaced. So a lot of research and development is going on in this area also. For that, we'll have to wait. Okay. So now we are coming to slightly, I mean, what exactly hybrid and these electric power vehicles are. See, this is how the things are under development. There are four or five major components we must know that an electrical vehicle should have. They should have battery, they should have motor, they should have power electronics. In power electronics, they should have a converter and a booster, right? And now you see, we start from battery, from nickel to I think multi-hybrid nickel metal hybrid batteries, that is nickel cadmium, which are chargeable batteries, which were the very initial. You must have seen the the cells, the batteries used in our toys, which are chargeable batteries. These are nickel cadmium batteries. From there, we have for our HEVs, we have to go to lithium ion batteries, but their size will be less. But for plug hybrid, their size will have to further increase its size, the size of the batteries. And for BEV, as you see, the whole of the space available, which is uncrushable space within the car, may be required for batteries only. So this is how the battery situation is when we go for different steps of electrification. Then motors also have different technologies, from integrated motor assist to independent series plus parallel kind of motors. There are different changes in technologies now. Even the latest technology is to have the winding coil wire for the first time, a square or rectangular cross section wires are being used for winding.
That
To
is for
have,
improving the fill factor.
yes, to improve the fill factor. Yes, this is the latest that is being used for these electrical motors that are being used in the vehicles, and so on. So these are the main, and then these chips will, when these chips will come, silicon chips, then probably by that time the other electrical components will be of much smaller size and much lesser weight. But at the moment, the converters and inverters are quite big in size and heavy. Um, so this is these are just to give you an outline what electrical vehicle basically consists of. Now, if we look uh, at the power generation, in what kind of fuel will be used in IC engines as compared to hybrids, and then to BEV. So in we all know the 100% IC engines is 100% the engine, the power given to wheels, transmitted to wheels, are from engine itself. In hybrids, it will be from a part is from engine and a part is from recharged batteries. A part is from motor, which are run on recharged batteries. And this is a very simple depiction, but it is not that simple. There are various conditions which are we must say the ECU, electronic control units, or the power control units. They actually regulate the power used from engine as well as power used from batteries through motors. So, but in battery electrical vehicles, the whole power will be used only from electrical. So, if if I once again look at the power and the transmission sketch, the most left hand side is the conventional IC engine, where it's all engine, 100% power given to tires, transmitted to tires these days through electronic fuel injection, electronic control ECUs. Now in the center, these are the HEVs, where you can see that the power, depending upon the situation, if we see the graph at the lower half, depending upon the situation, right at the start, it is all battery. To a certain, up to a certain kilometer of speed, it will be all battery. It is written as EV. Then where it starts ECVT, it is both battery. It means that the battery is giving the power, but engine is giving that engine is at simultaneously charging the battery. So the engine power is also being used, battery's power is also being used, but it is in series. Then LU, when that means lockup stage, wherein parallelly engine is giving, when the lockup gears, as you can see on the upper side, when lockup gears get engaged, engine is giving power to transmitting powers to wheels. Parallelly, motor is transmitting powers to wheels, but at the same time, engine is also giving power to battery to charge it. And certainly the regenerative and the final stage, if you could see, when we are braking, we are reducing the speed. At that time, the regenerative braking is further charging the batteries in reverse direction. So this is how HEV works as far as taking power from engine as well as motor or battery is concerned. Then the right hand side, it is all purely electrical vehicle. You can see it is all battery, and battery is charged through plug-in and from external source of electricity, and that battery gives the power to motor. But at the same time, a part of battery is also charged through regenerative braking also, but rest it is all power used by vehicle through battery, and because there is no engine itself in it. So what we can see here is that a part of HEV is exactly same as EV. This is uh, take this okay, sorry. Yes, you can see the part of schematic diagram which is presented by dotted lines in green. It is exactly same will be used in, this is the HEV schematic diagram, but the dotted portion will exactly be used in BEVs also. So what happens is, whatever we will develop today for HEV, even components, even technology, battery, inverters, electronic components, as it is, those will be carried forward to EV when it comes to implementation of EV. So what I want to say is that using HEV, we are basically heading towards BEV. We are actually developing technology BEV also. So that will become a stepping stone for HEV, will become the stepping stone for BEV. So this, if we adopt this strategy, it will be a gradual conversion from IC engines to BEV, and wherever the gaps are there, those gaps will be filled by HEV. And the most conducive time it seems to be to introduce BEV is still not today. It is maybe 10 years or 7-8 years ahead. So by that time, we have to, we must not sit, at the right at this moment, applying BEV is not a very good idea. But waiting till 2030 and then start thinking about it is also not at all acceptable. So this in between gap should be filled by these technologies, and this is how we can work upon. uh, Let us divide the whole country into three kinds of uh, uh, areas, wherein one is city, wherein we only talk of last kilometer connection, or very small distances, about 3, 5, 7, 10, 20, 50 kilometers, up to 40, 50 kilometers, right? Then very, not 50, up to 10, 12 kilometers, wherein what we can use is, we can use electrical two-wheelers, we can use small light three-wheelers, electrical three-wheelers, we can use the replacement battery four-wheelers. Then city to suburb, wherein we talk about a distance covered about 30-40 kilometers. There we talk about HEVs, and there we should talk about affordable EVs, where the range is, let's say, 200 kilometers. So, I mean, if somebody has to travel to office or to his or her workplace for say 40-50 kilometers one side, these are quite good enough vehicles. Why do they need to have a vehicle which is having a range of 400 or 500 kilometers? So such vehicles, if electrical vehicles, such vehicles we must focus on developing for city suburb, and certainly for longer distance, outer suburb to outer suburbs. Yes, because of our electricity distribution system, the interrupted supplies there, we must have HEVs available to us, and then when we go in for fuel cell, when we'll also have infrastructure developed for hydrogen fuel pumps are available to us, then we must go in for fuel cell technology vehicles and long range EV vehicles. So that is how our strategy should be formalized. So summary in the end, what I want to say is that electric drive vehicles expanding due to global environment regulation, yes, but most of the countries are using these vehicles, but these countries using these vehicles because their power generation has renewable sources. And we also be very careful for the timing of introducing battery electrical vehicles for that purpose. So our target for 2030 is to have 30% such vehicles, electrical vehicles, but still 70% will be ICE vehicles. So there we can fill in a part. ICE vehicles a part of ICE vehicles should be replaced by HEV, and we must work first step towards developing HEV vehicles. Then again, it is the battery's energy density which actually plays a very important role. And looking at this, the kind of batteries available at the moment for us, we must look for some affordable electric vehicles if at all we want to have. And then, as I said, that many of the HEV and BEV components, concepts, design, the powertrain itself is common. So this development, the money, the time that will input, will put in developing HEV, that will not go waste. Rather, that will help us to immediately convert ourselves into BEV. And second, and the last point is, we must be very careful about batteries development also. I mean, we must look for certain constraints that are there in our existing batteries, and we must look for ways to take care of such constraints. Otherwise, the battery cost is going to shoot up rather than coming down in near future, and it will have supplies issues also. Okay, sir, this is all. Sorry, took very long time, but that is how I conclude.
Very,
It
very.
was very interesting, much informative also. Sandeep, I have one question. At present, uh, how many car manufacturers are giving this hybrid one?
Sir, hybrid one, Korean car manufacturers are giving,
Yeah.
Japanese car manufacturers are giving.
No, I
Uh,
mean in India.
in India, sir, in
Acha,
India, we have Korean and Japanese car manufacturers giving this
acha.
hybrid. But what Maruti gives, it is not. I mean, technically, it has been proved that it is not hybrid, as they call it mild hybrid. So
Please
this is
repeat.
the.
मेरा phone बीच में आने लग गया था. Please repeat. क्या?
Sorry, apart from these Japanese and Korean car makers, Maruti also has given this hybrid, which they call mild hybrid, but that has been confirmed and proved that it cannot be called a hybrid, and
Yeah.
for that purpose, the support or subsidiary given
Yeah.
to them by relaxing certain taxes have been taken back, and
Hmm.
now there is some deliberation going on in court itself, that whatever uh, tax
That is in
rebate given
Sias.
to,
That is in Sias, no?
whatever 12,000 crore tax rebate given to Maruti should be taken back.
Acha,
So,
acha.
so
Acha, by mild hybrid of this Sias,
hmm.
uh, what is the technical this thing? Why it is called mild hybrid? And you mean it depends upon the
Bareja Sahab, it is, let me explain you. It is, they use integrated starter generator. That is what I was telling. But
Yes,
if
sir.
no,
Sandeep,
no,
you
I'm
want
not
to
talking
explain,
about
you
that.
explain.
No, no, I'm not talking about that. I just want to know that is it like this that at certain speed, that after certain speed, it starts in petrol or diesel, whatever it is, and up to certain speed, it works on the battery.
It should have, but that was not the case.
No,
Acha.
it's not that way. It's not that way, Sandeep and Bareja Sahab.
Hmm.
It doesn't depend on speed. The
No, see,
only
I will tell you because uh, my brother-in-law is having such. In fact, my sister's whole family mostly they have either electric car or they have hybrid car. So my brother-in-law's hybrid car up to 40 miles per hour speed, it works on battery, and
Yes, sir.
after that, it automatically switches to petrol.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're right.
है
I
ना?
mean,
है ना?
if I show you this schematic diagram, look at
Yeah,
this, the center one. This is
yeah, yeah,
hybrid.
yeah,
As I said that this is the x-axis is speed,
yeah,
y-axis is distance
yeah,
or time, whatever
yeah,
you take. Initial to start with zero, no
yeah,
engine,
yeah,
up to certain uh, increase in speed, it will be no engine, it will be all EV.
yeah.
Then if you maintain in that speed, if you maintain to run the vehicle at that speed, again
Exactly.
no engine.
Yeah,
Then after that, if you further want to accelerate,
yeah,
then it comes ECVT. That means in series, the engine will work with motor. This is our technology. This is our
yeah,
technology.
yeah, yeah,
This is Honda's technology.
yeah. And he has
Okay.
a Toyota one. He has a Toyota one.
Toyota also has the same technology.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
so now
Honda
let
Sorry,
me
is.
sorry,
clarify.
sir.
Let me clarify.
हाँ जी
Let
सर
me clarify.
आप बताइए सर.
So this what you're talking about is hybrid, and what I was telling was about Ciaz, which is mild
Hmm.
hybrid. That
Hmm.
does not work on this principle.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Hmm.
that works on different principle. It
Hmm.
does not start with the electric this thing motor or
Hmm.
through battery.
Hmm.
It is a pure IC engine.
Hmm.
Okay, and it starts as an IC engine.
Hmm.
The only thing used in Ciaz is that when the engine heats up, the torque requirements get reduced
Hmm.
and it gets started through normally in a vehicle in an a petrol or a diesel or a vehicles you have starter motors to start the engine, but
Hmm.
herein you use starter motor and alternator as one unit,
Hmm.
and in that case what happens is the alternator gets
Hmm.
into the starting mode when the
Hmm.
torque requirements are lower.
Hmm.
Okay, and then it stops. The main feature is at the red lights or at stops which are of larger duration, the IC engine will get cut off.
Hmm.
But the moment you want to start it again,
Hmm.
it gets started through the alternator.
Hmm.
It
Yes, sir.
doesn't crank the engine.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's the difference between the two.
Yes, sir. I
To
mean,
answer to Bareja Saab's this thing
sir,
between Ciaz and
Yeah. That's why.
एक मिनट
That's why, Sandeep, Anil, that's why it is a low hybrid, and the principle of
Sir,
actual,
it is not hybrid. It is
uh,
called idle stop.
it's called idle stop. That's right.
Yes.
exactly,
Please,
yeah, yeah,
please try to understand.
yes,
They idle stop. You need not to have any motor or I mean hybrid. Please understand. You
yeah. At
already
that
have
time,
a
even
starter
battery is
motor.
not
You
there.
you
That,
already have a starter motor, right?
yeah,
To start the engine, right? Idle stop in today's many cars, it is there. But that cannot be called hybrid. Hybrid
exactly.
is one when you run the car, you give transmission to wheels. Sorry, you give power, you transmit
Power to
powers to
wheels.
wheels.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah,
only it can be called hybrid. So
exactly.
they have idle stop, they used as they changed the terminology.
Was Sandeep Darling initially because on the low end cars they cannot afford to have the technology becomes very expensive, and that's why one of the reasons which the question which I had asked previously is that this technology of moving from battery down
As far as India is
That
concerned, this statement is good. It holds good as far as India is concerned. But in other countries, US and all, even small cars, they are hybrid also, and the EV also. Even small cars,
yes, EV are more. I mean,
EV are more. Yes.
in mostly, Kohl Saab is absolutely correct. In
Hmm.
small cars, EVs
The
are
EV
there,
concept,
but
yeah,
not hybrids.
hybrid.
I have also not heard of hybrids
Hmm.
in most of those small cars, because in Honda also cars, even in Suzuki, the cars with 660, because why I'm talking about 660 cc, because like we have regulation for 1000 up to 1000 cc, they also have the regulation where they get the rebate if the engine size is 660 cc. For those cars which are 660 cc, they don't use hybrids.
Yeah.
As I earlier said that they use turbochargers. But Kolsa, we were talking about in context to Maruti's claim. So Maruti's claim.
correct there that's right. Maruti's
Hmm,
claim has been totally washed away by I mean it's voter supported by
hmm,
the
hmm,
government earlier, now it is not, and which is the
hmm,
right thing.
hmm.
That's right.
And
About hybrid, yes.
yeah, and Sandeep, this was about hybrid, and which size, which company in India is giving hybrid? Mahindra is giving hybrid.
No, Mahindra is not giving hybrid. As I said, Toyota is giving hybrid.
Yeah.
Honda will give hybrid from another 2-3 months from now,
Okay.
because we have already finished all our testing on city hybrid, as is already there in the press also. And then
Which
we
is
have
Toyota's
hybrid.
hybrid?
Then we have hybrid in Kia and Hyundai.
Kia and Hyundai. Hyundai. Which car is a hybrid of Hyundai?
Hyundai, it is. I think they have this SUV, the new SUV that they have
Oh,
brought in.
acha.
Sonnet, or what is it? I'm not clear about the
No,
name.
Kia doesn't have Sonnet. Sonnet is of sorry, Kia has Sonnet,
Kia,
but
Kia.
Honda,
Okay.
Honda is the
Hyundai. It is sister concern of Hyundai, Kia.
correct.
Yes.
Yeah, they are both. I think Hyundai has taken over Kia, no?
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
And electric vehicle में किसका है?
सर, अभी टाटा का तो है ही है, आपने दोनों उनके
हाँ जो
देख रहे हैं।
correct.
इसके अलावा Hyundai का भी है, क्या नाम है उसका? लेकिन है नहीं, इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल सर, जो सबसे पहले Hyundai नहीं दिया था।
हाँ।
लेकिन वो बिका नहीं, क्योंकि कॉस्ट एक्चुअली क्या है कि इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल अगर वैगन आर, लेट्स से वैगन आर 4.5 लाख 4 लाख to 5 लाख के बीच में मिलती है, उसकी कॉस्ट जो एस्टिमेट की गई है वो 10.8 लाख की गई है। ऐसे ही जो ये निक्सन है या टाटा की कार है टेगोर, ये टेगोर जो है वो वैसे 5 लाख के करीब 5.5 लाख की है, लेकिन आप अगर उसका ईवी वर्जन देखें जो कि अभी अफोर्डेबल ईवी है, वो कंप्लीट ईवी मतलब फुल रेंज का ईवी नहीं है और उसकी चार्जिंग का टाइम भी बहुत ज्यादा है, उसकी कॉस्ट अराउंड 11 लाख है, 11 से ज्यादा है।
So that is the problem here, no? That is the main problem is its construction as well as the battery.
हाँ जी सर, और दूसरा अभी हमने लोकलाइज, अभी जो आईसी इंजन्स हैं, चाहे वो पेट्रोल हो चाहे वो डीजल हो, उनका सब कुछ लोकलाइज हो चुका है अभी, लेकिन मोटर का और हाई टेंशन वोल्टेज केबल्स, देन बैटरीज, देन वेरियस ECUs, PCUs, IPU, ये सब जो कंपोनेंट्स हैं जो कि इलेक्ट्रिकल व्हीकल्स में जाएंगे, वी हैव टू इम्पोर्ट देम ऑल। उनके भी सप्लायर्स इंडिया में डेवलप अभी, हाँ अब धीरे धीरे होंगे।
हाँ, जब धीरे धीरे होंगे, एक्सपैंड होगा, जब मास उसमें प्रोडक्शन में कोई भी चीज आती है, देन ऑफ कोर्स
we have ECUs वगैरह के लिए हैं सब, Continental is here, you name the auto components, tier ones, they are there. The question is of the semiconductors and chips, what we are supposed to get from China, that is where we are lacking right now. Otherwise, as subsystems we have availability in India.
हाँ, लेकिन सर जैसे IPU है, IPU में जो जिस तरह का वेल्डिंग सोल्डरिंग तो और ये नॉर्मल वेल्डिंग तो चल ही नहीं पाती, तो और फिर उनके कंस्ट्रक्शंस वो सब अभी हमारे इधर डिजाइन डेवलप भी नहीं हो पा रहे, अभी होंगे लेकिन आज की डेट में नहीं है अभी। और जो मटेरियल बैटरी को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए हमें केसिंग वगैरह में चाहिए, वो सब अभी नहीं है सर, बट यस विद टाइम वी विल आल्सो हैव।
I heard it will take another 5 years to really go for development.
अब बैटरीज के लिए कुछ प्लांट जैसे आई थिंक टोयोटा ने महिंद्रा के साथ कोलैबोरेट करके एक बेंगलोर में लगा रहे हैं प्लांट पूरा.
Anyway, site is there in Chennai. There's Amar Raja nearby in Karnataka. I mean, there's a lot of things happening in batteries.
Yeah, lot of things.
लेकिन सर बहुत ही जो टेक्नोलॉजी है वो थोड़ा उसका स्पीड जो है वो थोड़ा स्लो है
Slow है, बहुत slow.
as compared to.
Anyway, I think we've taken the.
Very small question. Sandeep ji, very
जी.
small question. Very good informative presentation.
हाँ जी सर.
Hello.
हाँ
हाँ,
जी.
एक छोटा क्वेश्चन पूछना था. हाइड्रोजन was initially considered as a good alternate. आप भी
हाँ
बात
जी.
कर रहे थे.
हाँ जी.
Why
हाँ
was
जी.
it not taken up? Why did it go back and then any specific reason?
नहीं नहीं सर, हाइड्रोजन is the latest fuel cells you are talking about. I think you are talking about fuel cells where hydrogen as fuel is used.
Correct.
Right? But हाइड्रोजन बनाने का सिस्टम, फिर उसके डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, जैसे पेट्रोल पंप में हाइड्रोजन मिलना चाहिए.
So that is a
फिर
challenge.
यस, फिर उसके बाद जो उसका सेफ्टी से रिलेटेड इश्यूज हैं.
Okay.
आई थिंक मतलब
Because
हाइड्रोजन तो
initially बहुत सारा काम,
Vikram,
बहुत सारी चीजें उसमें चल रही थी.
हम्म,
Then suddenly after EVs coming in as legislation in European countries and all, then the focus was only on EV vehicles. That is how it changed.
हाँ सर, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का वो चार्जर्स का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिस्टम इंडिया में इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलप करना बहुत आसान है. आसान है इन सेंस कि इट इज
Compared to the others.
हाँ, इट इज नॉट अ न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी एट ऑल. इट इज द डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑन.
एक चीज और बताइए, एक सोडियम आयन का भी बीच में न्यूज आया था.
हाँ
Is
जी.
it
हाँ जी.
really worthwhile?
यस
Battery
यस
technology
यस
based on sodium ion.
यस, वो जो आप सोडियम आयन की बात कर रहे हैं वो सॉलिड बैटरीज के लिए यूज होना है.
Okay.
वो अगला स्टेप है. हमारे लिथियम के बाद बैटरीज का नेक्स्ट रेवोल्यूशन होगा.
हाँ, so is there
उसमें
work going
size
on
छोटा
that, या जब उसके ऊपर भी काम चल रहा है अभी, या अभी वो बाद में नेक्स्ट स्टेप नहीं आया?
सर इंडिया में नहीं चल रहा है लेकिन वर्ल्ड वाइड चल रहा है.
So that will take time, मतलब another, that will be the next thing.
Yes,
उसमें
that is
size
the
छोटा हो
next
जाता है ना?
generation itself.
Of course, size is the most important. वो तो
साइज छोटा हो जाता है उसमें, वेट और साइज बड़ा छोटा हो जाता है उसमें.
अच्छा, एक चीज और थी. In fact, we had heard it in my ex company also. They were, of course, that is for heavy vehicles. That this thing was that we swap in kind of batteries because of the restrictions of the charging and the other things. There
Yes,
was a
sir.
technology that was being tried, is that you remove a battery and put another battery.
Yes, yes,
Go
yes.
to a, let's say, a station. So how is that coming up? Is that the possibility? उसका है promise लगता?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For heavy vehicles?
ये आप स्क्रीन पर देख रहे हैं.
हाँ.
जो लास्ट माइल कनेक्टिविटी है उसमें
जी.
देखिए, लाइट वेट मॉडल यूजिंग मोबाइल बैटरीज. दीज आर स्वाइप बैटरीज.
Okay.
This is a very valid option for small distance movements.
Okay.
Last mile connectivities.
Even for example, the constraints for trucks and all, or buses, or other say trucks, would be the weight factor, and that since they have to run very long distances, वहाँ पर क्या use हो सकता है? तो we were trying something like this. My ex company were trying something like, I don't know what has happened now. We were trying swap in and swap out. जहाँ पे for example if there is a bus, उनके बस डिपो में वो अपना बैटरी निकालेंगे, दूसरी डालेंगे, and then the vehicle hardly has to stop for 5-10 minutes and go.
ये ना एक पॉलिसी में भी हो रहा था, और ये
जी.
पॉलिसी में भी आ रहा है कि ये चार्जिंग स्टेशंस जो बनेंगे ना, जो सोलर पावर्ड भी होंगे, तो उसमें ये दोनों ये स्वैपिंग का होगा, वेदर इट इज 2 व्हीलर्स और 4 व्हीलर्स और व्हाटएवर, या ये जो हमारे ई रिक्शा बैटरीज है. तो ये कंसेप्ट बड़ी तेजी से आ रहा है. इनफैक्ट मेरा कुछ टाइम पहले डॉक्टर निखिल से भी इस बारे में कुछ बातचीत हुई थी, कुछ प्लान चल रहा था. तो ये एक बहुत अच्छा प्रोजेक्ट भी है, किसी के लिए बड़ा वायबल प्रोजेक्ट भी है, जो अभी आने वाले टाइम में आएगा. और हमारा 96 पास आउट है सुनील गांधी, हु इज इनटू स्मॉल लिथियम बैटरी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, वो छोटे हैं अभी, धीरे धीरे बड़े में भी आएंगे वो। तो उसने भी इस बारे, ही ऑल्सो
हमारे तो सर एक्स कंपनी में अशोक लेलैंड में वी ट्राइड दिस इन वी डेवलप्ड इट विद आईआईटी मद्रास एंड वी हैव ट्राइड इट इन अहमदाबाद में बसेस चल रही हैं which are on this technology because it came up in certain under the same project there were tenders for EVs उसमें as a project a lot of companies put in Tata Motors ने भी किया था, so that vehicle that is already is being tested already. So I don't know now what has happened to it, but this is also something which is coming up.
वो ये सब प्लान था, ये कोविड की वजह से सारे प्लान्स थोड़े से और सब डिले हो गए ना, वेरी फास्ट. This is going to be going to come very very fast. The next 1 year you will find.
सही बात है.
Again for this, you know, you need funds and finances or this thing and all.
Commercially, I had heard there was also this research that what may actually come up is that there will be a battery which will be given for 3 years. Cars में भी 3 साल के लिए बैटरी दे देंगे, and because everything runs on the battery. उसके बाद 3 साल बाद अपनी बैटरी लीजिए, दूसरी बैटरी लगाइए, and then you.
ये स्वैपिंग में तो ये था कि कभी भी any moment पे जो भी
that is different. वो तो कभी भी any moment. Yeah.
Either charge or swap, whatever it is.
Correct. Very nice presentation, Sandeep ji. Thanks. Very informative.